Hello friends, myself Ashwini Shindge. I am working as an assistant professor in College of Pharmacy, Pune. In this video, we will study about the beta oxidation of fatty acid. First, we will understand what is the meaning of a beta oxidation. Beta oxidation means nothing but the catabolic pathway of fats in which free fatty acid will get converted into the acetyl-CoA. But why this process is known as the beta oxidation? As we know that the fats are stored in human body in various forms. The major storage form of fat is nothing but the triglycerides, which contains one molecule of a glycerol which is attached to the three molecules of fatty acid. Now we will understand the structure of a fatty acid. Here I have drawn two structures of a fatty acid. In these structures, you can see that the structure is divided into two parts. In that first part is the side chain, which is denoted as R, which contains a single long chain of a carbon and hydrogen atoms, which is attached to the second main part, that is nothing but the functional group, which is carboxyl group. Let us expand this R chain little bit. Here you can see that the first carbon atom, which is attached directly to the functional group, is known as the alpha carbon atom. The next carbon atom, which is directly attached to the alpha carbon atom, is known as the beta carbon atom. And the next carbon atom, which is directly attached to the beta carbon atom, is known as the gamma carbon atom, and so on. When beta oxidation occurs inside the cell, a bond between the alpha carbon atom and beta carbon atom will get broken down. Hence, this process is called as the beta oxidation. Now, we will understand the whole process of beta oxidation. As we know that the human body contains adipose tissues which consist of triglycerides which contains fatty acid and glycerol. Hence, we can say that the fatty acids are distributed in all over the human body. From there, they will get enter into the blood, and through blood, they will reach to the targeted cells where they can get metabolized. After reaching to the target cells, they will enter into the cytoplasm, and in next part, the free fatty acid will get enter into the matrix of the mitochondria after crossing the outer and inner mitochondrial membranes. Here you can see that the whole process of a beta oxidation is divided into the three steps. First part means nothing but the transport of a fatty acid from adipose tissue to the targeted cells. Second part, entry of the fatty acid into the cytoplasm and mitochondria. And third part is the oxidative catabolism of the free fatty acid inside the mitochondrial matrix. Let us understand the first step, that is transport of a fatty acid from adipose tissue to the targeted cells. As we know that the human body composed of fats which contains adipose cells in them. Fats are stored in major quantity in abdomen, in thighs and in arms. Adipose cells contains triglycerides which consist of a glycerol and free fatty acid. A combination of a glycerol and free fatty acid is very important because glycerol has a large molecular mass which prevents the escape of a free fatty acid from adipose cells. There is one enzyme which is known as the lipase, which is responsible for the breakdown of the bond between the glycerol and free fatty acid. Then this free fatty acid will get enter into the bloodstream. From there they will reach to the targeted cells where they can get metabolized. In human body, there are two types of tissues which cannot metabolize the free fatty acid. These are nothing but the RBCs and nervous tissues. Why these two tissues cannot metabolize the free fatty acid? Because these both tissues have one similarity, that this both tissue does not contain mitochondria, and as we know that mitochondria is essential for fatty acid metabolism. After reaching to the target cell, free fatty acid will get enter into the cytoplasm of that cell with the help of one special protein cell known as the fatty acid transporter. Fatty acid contains a negative charge, hence it cannot cross the cell as such, hence it requires some special protein cell. After entering into the cytoplasm of the target cell, it will get enter into the matrix of the mitochondria after crossing the outer and inner mitochondrial membrane. But for the before entering into the matrix of the mitochondria, free fatty acid will get converted into its activated form, because without conversion of a free fatty acid into its activated form, free fatty acid cannot get metabolized in the matrix of the mitochondria. Matrix of the mitochondria is very important because it contains all the enzymes responsible for the metabolism of the fatty acids and enzymes responsible for the Krebs cycles and electron transport chain. Now we will understand the activation and transport of the fatty acid inside the target cell mitochondria. First we will see fatty acid activation. Free fatty acid will get converted into its active form, that is acyl coenzyme A. This whole reaction is catalyzed by the acyl coenzyme A synthetase. During this reaction, a molecule of ATP will get converted into a monophosphate and a molecule of a pyrophosphate will get released. During this reaction, second enzyme is also responsible, that is nothing but the coenzyme A. Fatty acid activation is important because without the activation of a fatty acid, it cannot be utilized in the mitochondria. Whole this reaction is carried out in various parts of the body like outer mitochondrial membrane, endoplasmic reticulum and peroxisomes. Then the activated form of the fatty acid are transported to the mitochondria. Here I have drawn the outer and inner mitochondrial membranes. Here you can see that this is the outer mitochondrial membrane, this is the inner mitochondrial membrane, and this is the space in between the outer and inner mitochondrial membrane, which is known as the intermembrane space. Here you can see that the outer mitochondrial membrane contains a pore-like structure which is known as the porins, which makes the outer mitochondrial membrane permeable to the various substances including acyl coenzyme A. Hence, a molecule of acyl coenzyme A can easily transport into the intermembrane space. But the inner membrane mitochondrial membrane is not permeable, hence the molecule of the acyl coenzyme A cannot get enter into the matrix of the mitochondria. And for the passage of the molecule of acyl coenzyme A into the matrix of the mitochondria, some special mechanisms are required, which is known as the carnitine shuttle mechanism, in which various enzymes are there which helps to passage of the acyl coenzyme A into the matrix of the mitochondria. In that, first enzyme is nothing but the carnitine palmitoyl transferase 1. What is the main role of this enzyme? This enzyme will combine with the molecule of acyl coenzyme A and regenerate a molecule of acyl carnitine, and a molecule of a coenzyme A will get released back into the cytoplasm. Then a molecule of acyl carnitine will get enter into the matrix of the mitochondria with the help of the second enzyme, that is carnitine acyl carnitine translocase, which is located on the inner mitochondrial membrane. But as we know that for the metabolism of the fatty acid, a molecule of acyl coenzyme A is required because it is the activated form of the fatty acid. So we must have to regenerate it. This job is done by the next enzyme, which is known as the carnitine palmitoyl transferase 2. This enzyme helps for the combination of the coenzyme A with the acyl molecule. Then a molecule of acyl coenzyme A will get regenerated and a molecule of carnitine will get regenerated, which will get back into the intermembrane space, and this molecule is utilized by the carnitine palmitoyl transferase 1. We can see in this diagram that the enzyme carnitine acyl carnitine translocase transport one molecule of carnitine into the intermembrane space, and in exchange of that, it transport one molecule of acyl carnitine into the matrix of the mitochondria. So, this is how free fatty acid transported into the mitochondrial matrix. Up till now, we have studied the transport of the free fatty acid. Up till now, we have studied the transport of a free fatty acid from adipose tissue to the target cells. We have also studied about the entry of the free fatty acid into the cytoplasm and mitochondria. In the next part of the video, we will discuss in detail about the oxidative catabolism that happens inside the mitochondrial matrix. So, for deep understanding of the beta oxidation topic, make sure to watch that video. If you found this video helpful, make sure to support Made Simplified by hitting subscribe button below, and also make sure to like this video. Thank you so much for watching this video.